I was initially not going to make a video about this. I didn't think that it would actually come true, but you know what? Somebody did the research, and I will give props to that. So today, what we're doing is we're going over one of the comments made by Satyr Shah on the recent edition of Canucks Central. This was from Friday's mailbag segment on Sportsnet 650 here in Vancouver, and this idea relates to the Canucks, of course, as well as Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings. Now, I'll say this right here. When I saw this pop up on my timeline, I actually wasn't listening to 650. I had a few other things to do yesterday, so I wasn't really tuned in to Canucks Central, but I saw this tweet made by G-Man, Notorious G-Man 88, that got a little bit of traction. It was kind of popular, but I saw it and I was like, okay, that's a little bit too outrageous. We're not going to make a video about that. I didn't verify it. That's why I didn't want to make a video about it. But this tweet by G-Man went sort of viral yesterday. Satyr Shah said on Canucks Central that he has heard rumblings that Steve Yzerman is preparing to offer Dakota Joshua over $4 million a season. If that's the case, keeping him isn't even a debate. And I tried to reverse search the text. I didn't really see where this came from. And so I was like, okay, that's a crazy idea. If somebody goes out there and like posts the clip or something, then we'll make the video about it. Great. And somebody went out there and did that. Take a look at this tweet made by Red Wings Prospects. Here's the clip from Friday, where Satyr Shah from Canucks Central said that he has heard a rumor that Detroit could be in on Joshua at around the $4 million AAV range. I really like Joshua as a player, but that cap hit seems to be on the high side. And listening to the 1-minute clip, which will be linked in the description, Satyr Shah says, I don't know how true this is, but I have heard rumblings that the Detroit Red Wings really like Joshua and that they might be willing to go 4+ on him. And he clarifies, hey, I don't know how true this is, but he has heard it. And at the same time, Sat concludes saying if these are the things that Dakota Joshua's camp are hearing about too, then no wonder Dakota Joshua has not re-signed with the Vancouver Canucks. There's no wonder that he has dragged this process out, even if the Canucks and the Dakota Joshua party have gone out there and most likely negotiated, even if the Canucks have probably sent in their number and Joshua already knows it, most likely, because if he knows, if I just go to free agency, I can get a few extra $1 million on this contract. I can get $2 million more per year. I can get a lot more money if I just wait. And that's kind of the thing. On the initial tweet that we had talked about, a lot of Canucks fans are saying, yeah, okay, if Detroit is offering him sorry, Canucks are not going to go out there and do that. Joshua is a Michigan native. I would be so happy for him if he got to play for his hometown team, Josephine said. Stevie Y writing blank checks for third liners is like peanut butter and jelly. Mike goes out there and says, if that's the case, I wish him luck. You overpay for top talent, not third liners. And then you have another reply saying that is Yzerman's MO to grossly overpay for free agents with Detroit. Good for Joshua, but that won't work out for him in the long run. And then, if you go over to the Canucks Central clip by Red Wings Prospect, some of the replies go out there and say this. Steve Yzerman's apparent $4+ million price range is maybe $0.5 to $1.5 million too high. Dakota Joshua brings decent skating and is a really good penalty killer. It's just a rumor for now, though, so we'll see. He would definitely bring toughness to those who think the Wings lack that. And then you have yourselves a bunch of Red Wings fans replying, I like the player, but I think the Wings have enough third liners even though he would be an upgrade compared to some. He's not a bad player, but the Wings don't need more bottom six guys at that price. They already have enough cap tied into underperforming guys. And here's the thing with Dakota Joshua. I'll say this for a lot of Wings fans. Maybe y'all haven't been watching the other videos with Dakota Joshua because, I mean, they're mostly Vancouver Canucks related. I get it. Not every video is for everybody. But when it comes to Joshua, there were points throughout the season where you could say he was the best player on the Canucks. And it wasn't too uncommon to say that. He would score a bunch of clutch goals, he was always making plays, his shooting percentage was really high this year, but I think it's because a lot of these goals that he had scored were right place, right time, great positioning, rebound, garbage cleanup crew kind of goals. He was never the guy to come out there and snipe a beautiful one-timer, come in on the rush and just load up, lock, and fire it top corner. Like, he never scores those goals. He scores goals on the cross crease, 1-2, tic-tac-toe, back-to-back-to-back, tap-in, backdoor in the open net. He would be getting these rebound chances where he would be putting the puck in when the goalie is down. He would receive passes right in front, one-on-one against the goalie, and then pull off a through-the-legs move. He would do these crazy plays where the goals that are scored are not like, oh, he's such an amazing shooter, he's so good with his shot. It's normally he is so great with his positioning, his timing, and how he uses his hands in tight. Dakota Joshua scored some really clutch goals. He would win plays along the board. He penalty kills really well. And honestly, if everything worked out for Joshua next season and the year after that, I would not be surprised if this guy is like a 40 to 50 point consistent player who is providing so much more value than just 40 to 50 points would imply. This guy is a leader. He hits, he stands up for his teammates, he brings energy. There's a lot to like out of Joshua, but is that worth $4 million a year? Honestly, I would say that if you're guaranteed to be getting that Joshua for 82 games in a season, I would say it's probably even worth more than 4.5. Like, he is so valuable. But the thing is, I would say that Dakota Joshua wasn't necessarily that player for all 82 games and all of the Vancouver Canucks playoff games. Like, Joshua would pop off maybe once every 3 games in the regular season with an absolutely amazing performance and a few points. In the playoffs, it was noteworthy because he actually showed up a lot in game 1s. The rest of the series is he wouldn't really do much, and that was an interesting pattern to note. There were a lot of Canucks that didn't show up throughout the middle to ending parts of the Edmonton series. You could say Dakota Joshua was one of them, but for the most part, because Canucks fans know what he is capable of, it opened the door for Canucks fans to be slightly disappointed when Joshua wasn't doing those things towards the end of the Edmonton series, for example. But then again, a lot of Canucks weren't really pulling their weight at the end of the Edmonton series. You could say the same thing about Nashville. I did see some critiques about Joshua saying, hey, we still won against Nashville, which is great. I say we, we're not a part of the team. But Dakota Joshua didn't really do too much. He had the great game 1, and that was it. So there were a lot of people going out there and talking about Joshua and his inconsistency and whether or not that brings down his price tag. But if a team like Steve Yzerman's is really adamant that he is that guy, that Dakota Joshua can be that for 82 games in a season and all the games in the playoffs, then okay, he's going to go out there and pay this guy $4+ million. I will say, though, if you do this, there is an opportunity for Joshua to show off a little bit better somewhere near the top of your lineup, not just on your third line with Connor Garland, for example. We did talk about this yesterday, but I did propose the idea asking if Dakota Joshua gets more ice time, does that actually hurt him? Is Dakota Joshua so conditioned and well fine-tuned to the minutes he's already getting that if he gets more of a role next year, do those extra minutes drastically change his conditioning and therefore his results on the ice? That's a conversation that we could have another day, but for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you are a Vancouver Canucks fan or a Detroit Red Wings fan, what are your thoughts on the idea of Steve Yzerman giving out a $4+ million AAV contract to Dakota Joshua? I'll leave a link in the description if you want to listen to the audio where Satyr Shah said this from earlier last week, but it is there, and it is noteworthy because for some reason, that just kind of tickles my spidey sense a little bit. $4+ million a year for Dakota Joshua. Doesn't really sound like the most ideal situation, but either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Vrishashros 99, and bye.